Jim Koch left for college, believing that for the first time in 150 years, the eldest Koch's son would turn his back on beer. After college and graduate school, Jim began a promising career in management consulting. Even though he followed that path for several years, he always kept an eye on the beer business. In 1984, his instincts told him it was time to make his move. People were starting to crave something a little bit different in their beer. With his great-great-grandfather Lewis Cook's beer recipe in mind, Jim brewed the very first batch of Sam Adams Boston Lager in his kitchen. Samuel Adams combined pride, confidence, passion, and optimism in bringing Americans together to ignite the American Revolution. Jim Koch helped start the craft beer revolution when he first brewed Boston Lager over 30 years ago. And the Cold Cans boys helped start the rankings revolution as we first started drinking beer 34 episodes ago. We continue that path today as we examine Samuel Adams Boston Lager. Cheers, Nick. Man, that's not how I remembered Sam Adams Boston Lager tasting.
What was your memory?
I don't know. This is less lagery than the other lagers we've examined, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is a little bit heavier of a brew. Just like a true American, a bit heavier.
Let me get the second sip.
The crucial second sip.
As loyal listeners know, oh man,
Not liking
something
it?
seems off.
A little skunky or what?
Yeah, not skunky. It just. Let me get the crucial third sip.
God damn it.
Yeah, it is. It's so much heavier than. I guess I was
Well,
so
30
expecting this to be
IBUs.
another.
Check
bland
it out. Compare the IBUs, Joe.
IBU comparison tool. I have one on my supercomputer in front of me. Yeah, think again. I don't know how to do that. Shit. I don't have the internet. What is 30 IBUs? While Nick looks, I'm going to take that crucial fourth drink.
The IBU is the International Bitterness Unit, of course, as loyal listeners would know. And Miller Lite, for instance, has 10 IBU.
Right. So it's
nearly 1/3 of Samuel Adams.
If your math is
IBUs.
correct, it's nearly 1/3. I guess the lager is the thing that had me so thrown off because we have reviewed so many lagers
It's
on
Boston
this show.
lager.
Yeah, they do things a little bit differently at Sam Adams. Well, hey, can you do a Boston accent? You want to try one?
I parked the car in Harvard Yard.
That's pretty good. And you even did it without throwing out an R word, which is great. Yeah, let me try it. The Boston Sox parked their cars in Harvard Yard.
That was excellent,
Thank
Joe.
you. Hell, I like to believe there was a little JFK in there, if I do say so myself. Can we get another cheers here? I got to take that crucial fifth sip of Boston Lager.
Can I tell you why I decided to bring this in today?
Please do.
Last week, as loyal listeners would know, Casey Ryerson. We can cut out that
Have
last
we gave
name.
his last
I
name?
don't know. Maybe we should cut that out.
Listeners are going to know now, baby.
He was on the Line and Kugel's episode, and he mentioned that Samuel Adams is kind of his go-to at the bar when he's not getting a line. So I said, why the hell not? I'm creatively bankrupt, and I have to reach for anything I can get to pick out a beer. So that's why I brought this. And you know what? I'm going to tell the story I had at the QFC. Purchasing this.
Please do indulge.
Good God.
Here's what I want to say. I want to set up the story. I walked into the room and we were about to record, and Nick was really kind of just looking down on his luck. He had hurt his ankle last night playing a little flag football with us, and he seemed injured.
On the pup.
He's on the pup list, physically unable to piss. That's your joke. I stole from you.
I'll let you have it.
All right. So then I'm going to add out that I gave you credit. Anyway, so I come in here and he's all kind of downtrodden, and I'm chalking it up a little bit to the misty Seattle day for like the fourth day in a row or whatever. And then, nope, there was no ambiguity to your depression. You're like, let me tell you what happened at QFC, and then you told me this.
Yeah. So for context, I've been working all day in a basement. Basically, I'm in the studio, had a recording session this morning and then was doing other work throughout the day. And so I didn't know if it was still raining outside as I was going to walk to the grocery store to go get the beer for cold cans. And so I brought my umbrella with me. It's kind of like a bigger, like longer one. And then I get up there. Of course, it's not raining, but I'm like, okay, I'll just carry the umbrella. I'm not going to go back down to the studio now.
Naturally.
I walk the 2 or 3 blocks to get to the grocery store. And I take a lap through the beer aisle and decide to pick up Samuel Adams. And then I'm looking around for a Pairable or Terrible for the same episode, which listeners will find out later. And
I will too. You haven't told me yet, so I'm very excited.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's sitting right on the table next to me, so you might be able to get a little sneak peek.
Okay, I see it now.
And anyway, this is right during the dinner rush. You know how much I hate the dinner rush.
Nobody talks about, really, I think, fully deep down believes in the rushes being around the 3 meals.
No, I mean, I believe in the rushes as anyone would, but they're not necessarily meal related.
Breakfast, lunch, the lunch rush.
Yeah.
Well, there's the brunch rush, very underrated.
Yes.
In the dinner
mostly
rush.
on the weekends.
Anyway, continue.
Midnight snack rush.
Sure, of course.
And so it's like 5:30 at this point, so the grocery store is just crawling with people, and that stresses me out right away. You know, you got to go you can't get shoulder to shoulder through an aisle with someone else. Anyway, I got the beer. I got the Pairable or Terrible. I'm waiting in line at the cash register. I didn't want to do the self-checkout. We've talked about that on this show.
Self-checkout where someone has to come check an ID? I mean, good Lord. You're going to be
bullshit.
You're going to be until it's closing time.
Because sometimes the person they have manning the self-checkouts isn't even the 21-year-old, so they still have to get somebody else to come check it.
Oh
my God.
It's gibberish.
So I thought I'd take it easy on myself and go through the regular cash register. And QFC's pretty good usually about moving people through those because I think they had 5 or 6 open. So I get up there and I'm behind. I go to the one where there's only one guy in front of me. The other ones had 2 or 3 and that would have been in front of me. And the cash register is moving slow, or the cashier rather, and then this guy gets up there and he has 25 bags of frozen shrimp in his cart. And of course the cashier can't take his word for it, so they've got to ring them up all individually.
One by one.
And then,
oh Lord.
Then once they got it all totaled up, the guy's looking at the screen, he says, "That's not the right price." And by this point, I'm seeing people just rocket through the lanes next to me, getting through and out on their way.
Yeah, I have a couple questions. How do you think that guy got all 25 bags of shrimp? Do you think he had to ask to go in the back or to have people bring out more? Because they don't have that many on display.
Right, that's a good question.
And go to Costco or something, for
He
God's
also
sakes.
said, "I did the same thing last year." That's what he said to the cashier.
Oh, he's doing a Thanksgiving thing.
Yeah, it might be a thing where he pre-ordered it. He ordered a pallet of frozen shrimp, and then QFC ordered a special for him. So that could be.
But then he still went through the checkout line where the person had to ring all of them up.
Right.
The other question I have is, how easy was it for the cashier to scan the barcode of these? Did they have to? You know how sometimes with frozen food it gets a little condensation, and then they have to rub off each one. Was that kind of shit happening?
I was so out of it and grinding my teeth, I honestly didn't notice that. So I couldn't tell you.
Okay, so it's taken forever.
It's taken forever.
He says the price is
wrong. And so then they have to have someone go check, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to a different one because there was literally an open lane next to us at this point.
That is picking the wrong line.
Yeah,
which is an art and it's difficult. I'm also bad.
I always do it though. I always do it
because what we fall into is we pick the lines with the shortest amount of people. Sometimes, you know, and sometimes you have to do some profiling. Not of malicious variety,
the cart, though, in the basket,
but
right?
Of course, of the cart. But sometimes you got a little ageism comes into play. Is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
If somebody's creaking up around there and they have 6,000 coupon, one for every single item in the cart,
and they're gonna pay with a check.
Yes, and they're counting out of the penny purse.
It's true. But
anyway, so
you
pick
out of the
bad
kindness
line.
of my heart, I decided to wait behind this older man who's gonna just cook a great ass meal for his Thanksgiving.
They're gonna be packed to the gills with shrimp.
So anyway, here I'm back. I'm trying to get to the next register, and I go to turn. At this point, by the way, it's important to say the umbrella is under my arm because I'm just carrying it.
And so, this, you said, is a big umbrella. It's like the Mr.
like
the
Penguin. Got a hook on it.
Yeah,
you got to give him the hook.
What was the Batman villain?
Yeah,
Penguin.
Penguin.
It's like Penguin's
of Danny DeVito.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
And then portrayed in Gotham by some other guy.
He's supposed to be like the star villain. He's the big.
Good.
He's going to win the Emmy. That show had some of the worst acting I've ever seen in my life, even compared to some Netflix shows.
Yeah, but that's network TV these days.
It is.
So,
okay, continue. You got the Mr. Penguin
but did
umbrella.
you know the two leads from that are now like married or at least pregnant?
The two guys,
together?
the guy from
No.
Malcolm in the Middle or whatever.
OC guy and
OC guy.
Morena Baccarin.
Oh, and now they're married.
Yeah.
So Gotham brought them together.
Yeah.
They found true love.
I love that. On set.
Who's the other star? I thought the star was the redheaded guy with the beard. Maybe it wasn't Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
What show was he on?
No, it might have been Malcolm in the Middle. He's like sort of a famous dude.
Yeah, I thought
he's
he was
got a
the
name
star.
you'd recognize. That
He was like the disgruntled.
He's like the somewhat crooked cop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and the OC guy's straight laced.
He's Jim Gordon. Yeah,
gonna go get it. Yeah. Oh, he's young Jim Gordon.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, is Batman is Bruce Wayne in this show?
Yeah. Bruce Wayne's a preteen.
Oh,
and Alfred's in it. And
I'm
all
in,
that stuff.
baby.
Yeah.
I've been craving for years preteen Bruce Wayne. That's the show I needed to watch.
I can't think of any of these names. We got to say some of these names. Gotham cast.
Come up with the guy that was in like the Malcolm.
Okay, yeah. Robin Taylor is Penguin.
Robin Taylor.
Donald Logue. That's the
Donald
guy.
Logue. Yeah. So how did Donald Logue get famous? Like he was in.
Had to have been in
Oh, Grounded for Life. He was the star of Grounded for Life.
Yeah, right.
Which to me, Malcolm in the Middle, Grounded for Life, same show.
Sure.
Okay, so you have your umbrella in your
QFC.
arms.
I got the umbrella under my arm, and I turned to walk to the register, which is to my left, and I feel a little bit of pressure on my umbrella as I'm turning. I'm like, oh shit, is someone standing behind me? And then as I turn around, I hear something hit the floor, and then when I turned around, I saw a full display of chocolates spilled across the floor at QFC.
So did you knock a whole rack over? Or
it was one of those cardboard stand-up things, probably about 4 feet tall.
Promotional type thing.
Yeah, promotional type thing.
Got it.
And
oh boy, Nick.
So that tips over, they spill out. And I get to the point where sometimes I'm so mad that I can't even look at someone, and then I just breathe and try to be above the situation, but
Sure.
It never works. And so then I kneel down and start picking it up, and then a QFC person comes over and they're trying to help me, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Those were the words I could muster. And she just goes, it's okay. And then that took 2 minutes to get each chocolate in a specific one, because there was 6 different varieties, and you couldn't just scatter box, grab bag it up there. So I did that, and then I got into line, and at this point there were 3 open cashier lanes. So then I had my pick of the place, and I finally got checked out.
Good Lord Almighty!
Yeah.
Isn't that the worst kind of frustrations like that? Are not the ones where it's not even the traffic. It's oh man, I got bad traffic. That's frustrating to a point. It's I can't even complete this trivial task right now. That's how frustrating my day's going. The task of buying beer in a checkout line.
Yeah.
I fucked up. Even if it's not your fault, because how were you supposed to know the guy was going to have to check out 25 bags of shrimp and that you were going to tip the thing?
And
over?
I try to not get mad at that whole situation too. I'm like, this guy, he doesn't want to overpay for shrimp. He wants the right price.
Sure. I'd love to know if he was correct on the pricing discrepancy.
Yeah, I should have stuck around, because he was still dealing with it by the time I was leaving. Can you imagine? I should have gotten back into that line. Is what I should have done.
I bet, like you said, that's going to be a fun Thanksgiving where this guy, that type of personality is making 8,000 shrimp for his family
and then he makes
friends.
sure each person only takes 2.5 shrimp. I bought 2.5 shrimp for each person here.
And you should know I fucked them out. I fucked UFC out of 6 bags.
Boy, I pulled one over.
If you complain for 45 minutes, the manager will just cut some off.
And there were also people getting in line behind him while I was leaving. I wanted to say, don't do it. Please, God, don't do it. Save yourselves.
And it led us to this Sam Adams today.
Yes. Cheers.
Cheers, this crucial 12th drink.
How many drinks do you think it takes you to finish 12
to get to the center of the beery pop?
Yeah. I'm an owl, and I'm asking.
Man, that's a good question. What do you think you drink? An ounce of
I was just going to say, probably just an ounce of the thing, so 12.
12? Yeah, 12 drinks before you drink a beer. That explains why I'll end up drinking 4 beers and be like, oh my God, by the definition of the government, I've binge drank tonight, and all I've had is 4 beers. But, sometimes that's over the course of a few hours, no big deal. It was probably
by the definition of the government, I am unable to operate a vehicle after 4 beers.
Whoa.
And that's not true either.
Oh, boy, we have to cut that. Our lawyers advise us to put a cut point in. Anyway, so what I wanted to talk about today, we got a little off the rails, is To me, it's inexplicable that a show like Grounded for Life gets canceled after only 5 years on air.
That's the way we're going? Okay.
No, Boston Lager. Let's break down the
good.
logo. So the logo includes the titular Samuel Adams himself on the
A
front.
statue of him.
A statue of him, right? And so one thing I want to bring up, and this is in the cold open, the audacity of Boston Lager to compare how Sam Adams combined pride, confidence, passion, and optimism in bringing Americans together to ignite the American Revolution with what Jim Koch did, who by all means just inherited a long lineage of breweries and continued to do it, is outrageous. But for us to make the comparison about our episodes and the rankings revolution,
Very reasonable. Very reasonable.
No,
I mean, that's marketing, though.
It is.
You know?
Yeah.
And it sucks, but that's how everything is.
But that's what, that's why we're drinking all this shit. I know we've talked about this before, but, people can just say anything they want. And
I'm a good lover.
And you could even,
It's not true.
but you could say, and you could disagree with it, as any former lover of Nick's would do. They would say, well, obviously that's not true. Nick was a terrible lover. And they can, and there's one there. So you say some outlandish claim, and everybody will go, well, that's just not true. And then you just the person who said the claim just kind of closes their ears and their eyes, and they just go, no, and they don't accept any of that backlash. And then everybody just eventually accepts that the claim was said. And then that's the dangerous tipping point. It's it's okay that he said this thing. We all know it's wrong, right? And then that layer of complacency gets kind of added on top.
Yeah.
And with time, that layer gets thicker and thicker before you start to just not remember what was.
Do you have
so
anyone
wrong.
in mind for what you're talking about here? Anyone who's taken that strategy?
I have no comment because I love my president. So I'm talking about Barry Obama and what he used to do back in Benghazi's days.
But no, you're right. You further erode the line of what's good taste, essentially, what's acceptable in society and in discourse and stuff like that.
Yes.
And marketing has certainly gone that way. I mean, you look at any Amazon page and there's just a million claims about how this noise canceling headphones are going to cure your cancer and shit like that.
And that's a real problem. That's a great point, because we're moving to a society that is basically governed by logging in and being online. And so,
love it.
Can't
get enough.
If we're going away from brick and mortar stores, so let's use
Rick and Morty stores.
Rick and Morty. If we're going away from the stores that sell DVD copies of Rick and Morty, and that sweet Szechuan sauce,
don't get me started.
If I was in line for 16 hours. If we're going away from brick and mortar stores, right? That's something that used to hold tangible truth to it. You could walk up to a brick and mortar store, and you could you could walk into a sporting goods store and hold a football and go, "Hey, I want to buy this football. I'm holding it, and I know it's good." But now we're in this Amazon world where you're supposed to trust Amazon. You go, look how convenient it is to just order a football on Amazon. You don't have to go to Dick's Sporting Goods anymore. Just order it.
There's reviews. People telling me it's good, Joe.
But the reviews, all you have to go on is description and reviews. And if description is governed by these outlandish fucking marketing claims, then truth is just going to be fucking bent. And then we're going to have no, ability to discern what's good or not. And then we're going to buy something and be like, I guess this is what footballs are now. This is, a thing that, it doesn't even work. It deflates or whatever. And, we're closer and closer to just, having to believe whatever anybody says by kind of, again, we've talked about this before, but losing, locality and embracing this, constantly always connected, always on thing. It's just this flood of imaging, and you can't worry about vetting the truth. So you just have to be whatever. It's just I'll take this all as it comes. It's really easy to sort of manipulate people and manipulate the truth in that society.
Yeah. And some people want to be manipulated, though, because it's easier, Tell me.
A bummer, though.
Tell me this is good, and then it's good.
And then it's good. That's true. But whether they liked it or not, they had some accountability when they had to, again, drive to Dick's and be like, just tell me what the best football is. And then they would hold it at least and then go, this isn't the best football.
Yes,
They were
I would
forced
say
to
some
make a
people would take the
decision.
opposite argument of what you're saying, in that like you have more choice on Amazon, and so you can find the best football. It doesn't matter what your local Dick's Sporting Goods has in stock that day. You know, you can buy literally any football.
I know, but we don't know what gothers those rankings. Like,
right,
we
we're
don't
supposed
know.
to trust Amazon, like you said
but
before.
that's my point. Like, if
Daddy Jeff.
they're incentivized to make money. We don't know how, and so that's a problem. That their incentives may be something different than the truth.
I think the availability of wide availability of podcasts is going to make some of our listeners switch over to literally any other show if we keep talking about this.
Well, that's a good point.
Where are we going with this?
I think I was going to come back to one thing that speaks the truth, and that's the taste of a tasty beverage.
The Bible.
And-
The taste of a tasty beverage.
Yeah, and the Bible, of course. And I'm almost through this lager, and as so often happens on this show, the first few sips I didn't like. The bottom of this, rich, creamy, alcohol forward, hops forward. It's
so
delicious.
beer tastes
It's
better
delicious.
when you're drunk, and life is better when you're drunk.
When you're
I
drunk,
think it's
yeah.
a good metaphor, or whatever that would be.
And this is a beer I think you could take to your Thanksgiving dinner, right?
Hey.
If you're having some sort of Thanksgiving meal.
Are you queuing me up for Pairable or
bring along-
Terrible, Joe?
I am, but
Was that off mic?
before you get to it, I want to say the Sam Adams website actually has food pairings for Boston Lager
I bet
listed
they're
on
terrible.
the website. They're all terrible. Small plates you could pair with blue cheese, black bean soup, bruschetta, or Cobb salad. Entrees, burgers, roasted or fried chicken, and burritos, kind of covering a lot of stuff there. Desserts is dark chocolate, chocolate and caramel cupcakes, and toffee cheesecake. So very, very like loose, broad. But what you brought to the studio today,
What I brought today,
specificity.
yes, was hot chicken that I cooked at noon and it's been sitting here since then. No, what I brought today, I'm sure you've seen them on the grocery store shelves.
2,000 pounds of shrimp.
And I got a goddamn good price on it, too. No, what I brought today is a from Oscar Mayer, which is that a Wisconsin company?
I think they have a plant
were they-
in a small
yeah,
town in
something like
London,
that. Or they-
Wisconsin, but I don't think.
Okay.
I'll validate. You keep talking.
Okay, so it's one of the P3 portable protein packs. You've probably seen these. They're kind of trying to enter the snack space with like the all protein angle, because we're told sugar's bad for us and we got to eat all protein all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure there's no sugar in any of this. By the way, Oscar Mayer is indeed headquartered in Madison, Wisconsin. so
Hey,
did
what do you
not
know?
that. Okay,
And
so
this
is-
particular P3, that portable protein pack.
oh, portable protein pack. Got
Yeah.
it. Is it P? Do they market it as P cubed, or is it just P3?
They should, because these cheese cubes are cubed.
Oh my God, they missed it. P cubed would have been portable protein pack plus cubes. Everything in it is a cube.
I'm going to write a letter to the editor.
Well, yeah, they're in Madison, so the next time you're home, go knock on the front door.
I will. Okay, in this particular protein pack, we got turkey, almonds, and Kobe Jack. And because it's Thanksgiving,
You're here to say.
we're going to see if this is a snack or whack.
Well done.
Because it's Thanksgiving, there's turkey. That's the one connection I made. Put as much creative thought into this as I did
Sure.
into Sam Adams. So get
One from
get
each?
all of them. Yeah.
Put
I
one of
think
each. Oh, this. I don't like the feel of this turkey in my hand.
Yeah, totally
Very
processed
gelatinous
turkey. Yeah.
turkey. So I have this Kobe Jack, an almond, and turkey. I'm just going to pop all three
Go
in.
for it.
Then take a drink of this Sam Adams.
Go for it. I'll tell the people what I had for food today while you chew, so we don't have to hear you chew. So I woke up this morning. Goddamn, last night I'd forgot to make my overnight oats, so I'm sitting there with my tea bag,
That's P3 power.
and I decided to make some hash browns. And I got this special hash browns recipe. This is an insider tip. You don't need Blue Apron for this. You take normal hash brown potatoes, you mix it with shredded broccoli,
Turkey was not.
and then you add in some diced onions. And if you cook that up with enough fat on it, boy, it's going to be good.
What's your fat of choice? You put in just butter,
I'm a olive oil and coconut butter guy these days.
coconut butter.
A lot of
They all-
saturated fat.
Mr. Rockefeller on the opposite side of the table with his
Costco's
coconut
got a
butter.
pretty huge thing you can buy.
You buy a 15-gallon
and it's
drum. of coconut.
butter-flavored coconut oil. Yeah, buy a barrel drum, 50-barrel drum. No,
You and the shrimp
in
guy
fact.
together. All right,
what were your
you
thoughts?
pop them in. So my initial thoughts were that turkey was nasty. It smelled like you had your nose right up against a butthole, and then that butthole farted. That's the smell while it was in your mouth. It was disgusting. The almond is an almond, and the Kobe Jack cheese was Kobe Jack cheese. But to me, the king of the P3 Power Pack is that turkey, and it was really bad. But take a sip of the Sam Adams, or you're out.
I've
You can't even tear. The pear was even worse. That like kind of strong taste of the lager.
Another one. Who cares? We're young.
These aren't the rules. We drink one beer. Seattle's bad boy.
It's a new day in Cold Cans Nation.
So you pair that taste of that turkey with a drink of that. The poop smell of the turkey with like the sort of strong flavor of the beer did not go well for me. So to me, it's a terrible. What do you say? What say you?
I do like your analysis. I'm a huge almond and cheese guy. I think that's like a perfect pairing. The crunch of the almond with like the
I liked that
creamy cheese. I think that's great. But I agree. The whole reason I got this was because of the turkey.
The P3.
Thanksgiving. You're gonna get the tryptophan. You'll pass out on the couch in the middle of the Lions game.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm okay doing terrible.
Terrible. Speaking of Thanksgiving, I didn't know that we had a extra. We really spent top dollar on a Foley artist recently for Pairable or Terrible. Speaking of Thanksgiving, should we touch briefly on your thoughts of Thanksgiving? I see you taking a drink. I can start if you want.
No, sure. Like the Thanksgiving holiday as a whole.
Sure, just in general, yeah. You know what my biggest complaint is?
Hey, why don't you start, Joe? I'm thankful for you and all your interruptions.
You literally bent the mic away from you.
No, I was pulling it towards me. You got your backwards glasses on, Joe?
No, you bent the mic away because you were eating turkey, and
that
you didn't want the listeners
ago.
to. Well, tell me what you like about Thanksgiving.
No,
what are you
please,
thankful
by all
for?
means. I'm thankful for my friend Joe, who's very considerate and is always a loving friend.
I don't like that Thanksgiving and Christmas are a month away. I think you pack in two of the biggest holidays where
Can I tell you why that's the thing?
Yes.
Everyone's depressed during the winter. You need time off work. That is what it is. It's got to be. The founding fathers, like Samuel Adams, knew that the people, once the weather gets cold and the sky goes dark, that the people need time off. Why? So they can overeat and drink copiously during the weekdays.
And Jesus knew to be born.
That's got nothing to do with it, Joe.
Yeah, that's
Separation
nice.
of church and state.
But it does mean if you live away from home and you want to go home for the holidays, you kind of have to like pick a holiday. It's what I end up having to do. It's hard to go home for both.
Yeah.
You fly there, fly back, fly there, fly back. So I just wish they were staggered a little more.
No,
it just seems like they're right on top of each other. Have we talked about like how time feels as you get older? Like how when when you're young, time feels like a Sunday afternoon can last seemingly forever.
Yeah,
but
I think that was the episode Stephen Hawking was our guest.
Yeah.
We talked about this, yeah.
All right.
But, keep going on it.
But when you're an adult, time feels like a whole week can feel like what an afternoon once felt like.
Yeah.
If you tell me I have an hour to do something, I'm like, fuck, that's like right now. I can't, there's no time between
in my
now
mind,
and an hour.
literally every task in life takes an hour.
Yeah.
That's like what I think of.
It's a unit of time.
Yeah.
It used to be like an hour.
Yeah.
I'll be dead by then, like when you're a kid. Apparently, like there's real basis for that. You actually do feel like time, like a unit of a year used to feel like a lifetime because when you were 8 years old, it was 1/8 of your life.
Mm-hmm.
But now, like in your 20s, 30s, 40s, or whatever, it's 1 year is 1/30 of your life. So in terms of percentages of your life, it literally just is less time in your brain. So that's why it feels like time is just fleeting right now.
Mm-hmm.
In any case, when I was a kid, it felt like when Thanksgiving came, it was like, oh, Christmas is still a whole month away. It's never going to come. And
that's true, yeah.
And now it's like, oh, these things are right on top of one another. There's no way I go back. I'll be doing this day. I have no time to shop. So that's my biggest gripe.
Yeah. I mean, when you're a kid, you think, hey, I'm grounded for life. But when you're an adult, you say, I'm grounded for a week. And it feels the same.
And when you're down low,
I agree,
4 seasons I get canceled. 92% on IMDb and I get canceled.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I largely agree. When I go home now, I go home like between Thanksgiving and Christmas. For a number of reasons. I hate the crowds of like actual holiday travel. It's more expensive, of course. And like you said, it's tough to go home, twice. around those days. So that's why I do it. But Thanksgiving in general, it's always a second tier to Christmas to me. Like, I always liked Christmas more.
It's poor man's Christmas.
Yeah. That's my only thought on it. I don't hate Thanksgiving. I feel like I don't have a ton of family traditions surrounding it. I feel like I have more around Christmas. And so Thanksgiving to me is always just, like, I never got to see my extended family on Thanksgiving. I got to see them on Christmas.
So
and that was always more fun.
So your family kind of picked the holiday too, because I think it's totally true. And for me, my birthday.
Because then you got New Year's 5-7 days after.
That's a great point. The holidays are Christmas and New Year's, but then Thanksgiving kind of is like the ramp up to that. It's the unofficial kickoff of the holiday season. Now, I know that you are you a Honda Days man?
I'm not. I know my parents listen to the show. I don't think I want them to know that I've turned away from the Lexus December to Remember sales event, and I'm now a Honda Days man.
And this also came from your roommate, Stodes, who I believe is still a Toyotathon boy.
Yes, last I checked, he was still in the house of Toyotathon. Listeners, sound off. Which holiday do you celebrate?
Are you a Honda Days man, or are you a Toyotathon boy?
Are you a summer holidays guy? You big Ford truck month guy.
I'm a truck month guy, I was going to say. Every truck month rolls around, I'm putting 2 more down payments down. I just can't help myself.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
No, there's too many holidays at once. Also, my birthday's a week before Thanksgiving. So, I always have this stacked up a lot. And Thanksgiving, like you just said, it was the poor man's version of all that shit. So, But it's still it's just a cool time. Football and like the autumn leaves.
I really think that's why we have holidays packed in, though. Because people are losing their minds.
Sure.
The sun is in the sky for 6 hours a day.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to get to that. We have a plan to talk about a little bit of teaser for our next episode, talking about some seasonal.
A little SAD Caesar? Teaser?
It's a SAD Caesar.
I have a seizure. I can't talk.
Well, should we wrap this episode up?
Yeah.
We're both done with our Sam Adams. You cracked a second one. I might take a little drinky poo of that second one.
Cold and flu season, you might want to pour that in your own individual cup, Joe.
Oh, true. You said you were getting sick. I'm not taking a sip of this.
Well, the alcohol kills it. Just pour it in your cup. Jeez.
Alcohol kills it.
Build up antibodies, man.
It's true.
And I drank a kombucha before this, so I'm healed.
So let's talk about where we're going to rank this up. Actually, no, let's get to the mailbag first. I have a unique mailbag. I want to give a shout out to theevergrey.com, who recommended us as one of the 14 podcasts launched by Creative Satellites, and they recommended our Rainier episode, presumably to cater to the Seattle crowd. Yeah. And I went back and listened to it. It's episode 4. And Christ, does that seem like a lifetime ago?
It does.
We no
when
Pairable,
we were
terrible.
Kids, it felt like multiple lifetimes ago.
We were just baby boys, and also the length is only 15 minutes. So we've thoroughly
really
launched into we've thoroughly launched.
I thought it was much longer. Must be why I'm a bad lover.
So self-indulgence is no problem anymore. At 30, we're running on 34 minutes right now as I look down.
Oh, mama. Okay.
So, but thank you to the Evergrey for mentioning us. We appreciate it. The thing I want to call is they said when we spotted the episode on Rainier, we couldn't resist, and we actually learned some stuff. So they're the only group of people who have actually learned some stuff about beer.
Positive takeaway. We also want to give a cold can shout out and a cheers to Danny, or loyal listeners, Danny and Candace, who got married recently.
Cheers.
Cheers.
A Sam Adams to you.
Yes.
We're giving a cheers. Congratulations. Name your firstborn after us. Happy and healthy.
Yes.
Well, speaking of happy and healthy, do you feel happy and healthy about this beer? Not a good segue. In our rankings.
I'll say the Beer Advocate score quick. It's a 3 point. Is all right. Nobody cares about this one. It's a 3.74 out of 5, which translates to good for them.
That makes sense. They put an effort forth. Again, that's what surprised me so much in that first sip. It's like, it just in my head, I always thought a Boston Lager was just another one of those fucking generic ass, like maybe like an MGD. Or
really?
Like, yeah, totally.
I never perceived it that way.
Really?
I mean, it's got to be almost twice the price of something like that. Yeah,
I was just way off on Boston Lager. I've never really drank it, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't know why, no particular reason, but
And it's all over advertisements,
Yeah.
like national advertisements all the time. That's where I thought we were like going to get into somewhat with your earlier discussion, or your earlier monologue, excuse me.
We had to touch on Grounded for Life, and we had to do a 20-minute bid on Safeway
My
lines.
grocery store, yeah. QFC, by the way.
Yeah.
Safeway is even worse.
Yeah, and that certainly wasn't a monologue, I'll say. What do you think? Should I read the rankings, taint to tip? You want to go first?
Are we still doing that?
Maybe we should give the listeners a break.
It is Thanksgiving.
But
I
what
think
if
they would be thankful.
What if they forget what the rankings are? We had a tweet recently from, I don't remember what his Twitter handle is, but from Landon Burlingham, who tweeted at us that he's appreciative because he gets so forgetful about the rankings.
I thought that was Spenny Mo.
Spenny did, but then Landon, I don't remember what the exact tweet was, but it was something along those lines. Anyway, we'll save you from the rankings read off. But I'm going to, because I want to get you back into the listeners. Also, they send me private DMs on Twitter.
Oh,
and they say they what the kids say is slide into my DMs, 100 fire content, and they say they're upset that you don't care about the rankings, that you've lost your luster.
Oh, really?
For the ranking. They say he's lost his luster for the rankings. You've mentioned a few times that they're pointless, they're useless, you hate them.
All true.
And so I want to get you back into the spirit. So, like, what would interest you with these rankings? Should we do a reshuffle episode? And we've bantered about it. If we reshuffled them, would you be back in? If they were more like authoritative?
Sure.
Okay, so maybe in a few episodes, I was thinking closer to the 50 episode mark, but maybe after a few, we're going to do that power hour reshuffle.
I could be down on the rankings for another 2 months till we get to 50. I could be a shithead about them for another 2 months.
Oh, I know you
easily.
Can. I know you could. So, do you want to go first with the rankings, or do you want me to go first?
Hey, let me take a look at these ratings, which I love so much.
They're
so arbitrary.
You wouldn't have to look at the
are.
rankings if I would have read them from tip to tip. That you'd have somewhere.
That's
in mind.
true. Yes.
They are kind of arbitrary. We need to reshuffle.
Right. They're not consistent. Because of course they're arbitrary, but there's like this has got to be. I'm going to put it under Kona and above Hoogarden. Tear me down, Joe. Maybe that's why I hate him so much, because that was the gambit for so long.
Right, you'd say something
Nick,
and then I'd be like,
this.
I disagree.
You idiot.
You said that in one episode. You said I would be the guy on high coming down. But whether you like it or not, because I know you're a masochist, I know in the back of your mind you want me to tear me down, Daddy. But
don't look under the table right now.
I think that fits extremely well. Is that your umbrella in your pants, or? I think it fits extremely well there. I think that Hoogarden's kind of forgettable. Maybe is one of those we'll come back to and reshuffle, but certainly not better than Kona. But like more flavor than those beers like Hoogarden.
Right, and it is for a different time of year. Like Kona is like good summer beer, I think. While Boston Lager, you could drink. It's a lager you could drink in the wintertime.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to make sure that the listeners know in this episode. Check out Grounded for Life. You can find it on Hulu. Having started procreating at a young age, Claudia and Sean aren't sure they're ready for charity. Even after 3 kids, the series tells the story of the kids. Tune in. You'll love it.
The Cold Cans podcast is recorded in the Overcast Room at Cloud Studios in Seattle, Washington. Visit cloudstudiosseattle.com